Okay, looks like we're live and shaking. All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Verte Arbusto, and this is the Schumann Resonance Harmonics channel on YouTube and on Facebook. More so YouTube these days, quite honestly. All right. So this is following the post that I made. I'm basically, there's a few things that I'm working on. First, everyone, hello. Thank you for the comments. It's a wonderful, I've been having a lot of good feedback with people, and there's a lot of intelligent folks out there who really have their heads on and know what's going on, even if I may not necessarily, like, factually, quote unquote, agree with people. I know that there's a lot of good hearts out there. Okay, so shout out to Wages World, thank you. And on my posts, I have a bunch of links to people that I feel have a valid message. Personalities to the side. I think they have something to offer people in this time. And I think it's important to let folks know where I'm at with what I know relative to common things that we can access. Specifically here, we're talking about YouTube. All right. So the subject here that I want to talk about is the dedicated line, the dedicated frequency line. That's sort of what started the whole ball rolling, I guess, with Wages World, was this dedicated frequency line. And I think it's important, while I'm talking here, I might as well zoom in. It's important to discuss this issue because it is not just about the coded lines. It is also about local interference. And that is, in a good part, what the discussion here is about, is local interference. Okay, so I'm going to pause this. Okay, what you're seeing there is the Schumann spectrograph from a few days ago, and it is still relevant. Within a few days, this isn't, the pattern of this is now established. There's a new paradigm that's floating around, and I talk about this indiglow in here. And this is a field of potential and possibility, all of this. So even though you may think, oh, nothing's going on in the Schumann, oh, that's a whole hell of a lot, because that was not there. This indiglow was not there only a few years ago. That's really important to mention. It's something that's only recently come in within this year. Like, really, as you go back at the Schumann and you start looking at it. All right. So what we're talking about is, now you got to know what you're looking at. You got to know what you're seeing, and that's what this whole series is about. And that's why it's important for me to speak up and talk about what I know, because I know. And I will also offer you this, that in my chart, my natal chart, in my sun sign, I have Uranus at 23 degrees. Okay, I have Mercury, Venus, and Neptune in Scorpio, right? So the communicator sign is in the sign of dreaming and the ether. So just let that be a thing. All right, so these are dedicated frequencies that we're talking about. Why it's important is because they're dotted, or they are being perceived as coded, which they may or may not be, and it's fine for people to accept that they're a code, because it opens up the field of possibility and potential that to investigate. As I say, local phenomena. Okay, versus what's on the worldwide kind of stage. So a lot of times they'll appear as a flat, an absolutely flat line, at a certain frequency. So I'm going to scoot that out so I can read it there. All right. So this is going to be a multi-part video, as most of them are, where I discuss the dedicated lines that are appearing on the Schumann graphs. This may appear as a spike in certain graphs or as a horizontal or a flat line. My guides have suggested that I create a two-tier approach. So what I'm going to be doing, I think from now on, is the first kind of tier is the public level with basic descriptions of the topic. So what I'm doing here is I'm just introducing this topic of the dedicated line, and I'm not going into a lot of detail about the specifics of it. I will be going into that in the next video or successive videos. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to put some videos private and then link them on Patreon. So if you go to the Patreon account right now, my Patreon, there is stuff over there, and I'm just getting that rolling, but it's up and running. There's like 5 videos, and in some of the videos, there's the full text of not just the abridged notes that I made here at YouTube, but the full text of everything that I said in there, and including some things I think I didn't say. All right, so it's important to mention that. All right, so again, there'll be more information on Patreon. Now, my personal thought is whatever's revealed to me, and all this is all revealed to me, belongs out to everyone equally. Okay. I started out with the idea, were it up to me, I would have this available to everyone equally. However, things being what they are, there being a assumed kind of purity, I guess, in a paid service in some way. I don't know how to put it better than that. You know, if you like a news service, you pay for it and support it in some way. So that's part of what has to happen. And this is me after having talked with a few of the about half dozen of my subscribers, which are really Wages World subscribers. You know, like, all right, it dawned on me that it seemed to be the best approach to doing this, and heck, even if there are people that I know that are into on the search for knowledge, I would be willing to kind of, you know, comp them a you know, membership at Patreon just to have them read what's over there.
We're going to try to attempt to do this, but I don't know where I'm going.
Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Apologies. My friend Aaron, who rides in rollerblades, lighted rollerblades, is also a DJ, and he has a lighted thing going on, and he's pretty much, I'm talking him into going downtown and DJing so I can get down and dance, and so yeah, all right. So okay, so we're back, all right. Okay, so while the information should be available to everyone, I would prefer it's like things, various political and whatever reasons would suggest that it's a good course of keeping things in the background that are private for the people that want the information and need it and really should have the information. So this is not something that's even new to this platform. It's like that. This kind of thing's been going on for quite a long time. It's just that this is the digital version of the Dead Sea Scrolls, if you will. All right. So on that cheery note, let me go full size. Bam! Bam to the blam bam. All right. So I'm going to pull out here. All right. All right. So. All right. So. Here's an introduction. All right, so I have it upside down from how I usually do. The 40 is down here, the 0 is up here. Hold on, where am I? All right, so the 0 is up here in the top, and then this is going down to 40. All right, so, all right, so where am I? All right, so, okay, so some reminders. We are now starting the lesson. or the session or whatever. All right. So, all right. So the amplitude and the electrics are propagated, get sensed and measured, then reported vertically. So these all up and right things are, as I mentioned before. All right. So these uprights, these are electric. These are the amplitude, the spikes. All right. So especially if they're white, it's not white or lavender. Those are not necessarily part of the Schumann resonances properly. Okay. The electromagnetics, the quality, the magnetics are propagated along the planet. They're hugging the ground. They propagate parallel to the surface, and these get reported on the Schumann spectrograph horizontally. All right, so our magnetic waves go this way. Okay? All of these are the waves. These are magnetic waves. Bing, these are magnetic waves. These are magnetic waves. Okay, now, what you're seeing here, this weaving pattern here, this wonderful tapestry, okay, this wonderful tapestry in here, that is the amplitude coming in and messing with the magnetics. It's bouncing back and forth before it's getting anywhere. It's interfering with itself. So these electrics that are coming in are interfering with themselves right here. This is how you're getting a what do we call a vertical interference, a vertical resonance. I'm not even sure how to phrase that, but it's a vertical resonance patterns are loop-de-loops, basically. I don't know a better way to put it, but that's why this. Yay! I love it when I don't do that. Hold on, I just lost my point. Okay, so that's what I get for making loop-de-loops. Okay, so you're getting the picture there. This is a wide band, but it is not a magnetic resonance. This is a amplitude resonance. This all here, it's a cloud, basically. Cloud of electricity, all flopping around in there. All right, so the horizontal waves create the actual resonances. So these harmonics are resonances. These fat lines are resonance. Resonances are waves which interfere with or interact with each other to create sympathetic harmonics. All right, so we have not that, yeah, but this here. We have, this is our, what I'm calling the sympathetic harmonic. It's a band of a few hertz bandwidth. This is what you would call a bandwidth. Okay. These are in the frequencies of 7.8, and that's 14.1, roughly, approximately 14.1. This one is approximately 22. The resonance waves can only develop over time, okay? Especially when we're talking about the magnetics. The vertical resonances are time. These are not established over time. These are establishing time. It's important to wrap your head around that. This jammy jam here, this dealio thingamabobber that's happening here, this mechanism is establishing time. The uprights are the temporal, okay, that's the head, that's the head trip, basically. The mind, the electric, the horizontal, that's the body, okay, it's the density. So horizontal is the density. This is the dimension scale, this is the density scale. Okay, so when this is happening here, okay, that is, I don't know how to put it any better way than it's opening up a portal. It's opening up like a field of potential, if you will. It's I don't even know the right way to put it. I'll just pause it at that and get back to the lesson. All right. So the vertical stripes are lightning strikes. Okay. Now, in theory, in Schumann resonance theory, these uprights are only ever lightning strikes. It's important to understand that. In proper Schumann theory, these are all lightning strikes, but this, I assure you, in reality is not all a lightning strike here. It is the precursor to, I'd say that would be, on the 4th, we had a CME around that time, somewhere. Ding-diddle-ling, it should have been arriving around that time. So it would have been theoretically getting some of that the tail end of it as well. Okay. Now, you got to understand this, that you look at the time, the relative time, okay, this is start getting into the day. Okay? This would be locally nighttime, okay? Or this is afternoon. This is the middle of the day right here. So 6, 7, 8, this is all local time right here. So this is when your day is starting, here. Okay, so let's say 6 a.m., 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is the middle of the day right here. All right? So as we get here, 20, that's 8. That's 9 o'clock. So 9, 10, 11, 12. It's midnight. Right? This is all nighttime here. Okay, you got to remember that. This is the dawning, a little rare reflection. You get some of that. And then this is another day. So it's important to know what the beating, what the quote-unquote the beating of it is it's the day and night time difference. Diurnal, they're calling that. All right, so the verticals are lightning strikes in essence, like I said. By theory, these are virtually instantaneous, although there could be a prolonged period of lightning discharge, and you see that during storms, across a given time. So you could have a bunch of lightning strikes over, say, an hour. A storm could be, you may or may not get a storm for an hour, but I'm saying, it'll record for a short period of time. How long do you get a lightning storm for? So a variety of these are strong enough that you would feel them elsewhere around the world. Ooh, let me move up here. All right. So you'd feel them elsewhere around the world. Okay. All right. A wave is in motion, so it's going up and down, varies in height, it varies in thickness as it traverses a given area of space. Let us just say that is a kilometer squared, or a square of land with a length of 1 kilometer on a side. In our Schumann waves, there is a crest and a trough of the signal, or the amount of EMF mass within the space, so it is volume. The amount varies and fluctuates at a given rate, and that's what you'll see on the frequency scale, what the wavelength size is. So on the white meter, you would get from 7.3 to 8.1. That's what the white meter is measuring. The mode 1, the white, is that small difference in wavelength, like 7, and it changes from day to day, but it's roughly 7.3 to 8.1. And 8.1 would be a rough seas, and I've also described the frequency as the size of the vehicle, the size of a wave, the size of a vehicle. How many clowns are in the clown car, for example. All right. So the wave, this right here, this is a wave, okay? This right here, that's a wave. Okay, it has a height. You see the height of it. And then it kind of peters out there, but it comes back there. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Bam to lam bam. So this creates a bandwidth of a few cycles, width. The width of it is a few, you see, frequency, bing, 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 so like 4, it's like, and sometimes you're hard to tell where the resonance stops and the other one begins. Like those are rough Cs, and this is a vertical column here, more than its individual waves, like that right there, okay? These are the higher resonances, the higher harmonics as we move downward. Okay. So there might be a bandwidth of 3 or 4 hertz or whatever or more over the course of a given time. This column of time here, you have them all kind of meshed in together. That is a lot going on at 5 in the afternoon, coming home time, right there. 5, rush hour, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, into the evening, right there. Bam, all of that. You're getting whacked as you're going home. Okay, so as the wave traverses the countryside in our theoretical kilometer, square kilometer, bouncing up and down, it is this up and down motion that's recorded as the bandwidth of the resonances. Okay, so this has been around the world a few times. Ay. Been around the world and ay. Okay, Lisa, for the Lisa Stanford crowd among us. All right, so that's been around the world for a bit. That's probably been around and around, or it's not strong enough to get around the world. But you see what I'm saying? Like these strong harmonics here are fat harmonics, are waves that traverse the countryside around the world eventually. Okay. So in additional to these fat resonances, we also get these thin guys here. And that's one of the things that we've been talking about on the wages world has been talking about, is trying to figure out code. He's noticing, you have noticed, that there's a code here at 17. Right? Let's go back here. So approximately, that's more like 16 and a half, but we're calling that 17 because I can give support for 17 hertz. Okay, but I would say that's, there's a certain, if you look here, see, this 4. You spread this area by 4, and then, you have 2. All right, so that's 18. Then you have, so 17 would be approximately here. It would just be a little bit off. Just about a knuckles worth off. Okay, but we're calling it a nominal 17. That's fine enough. As I said, I can get documentation for 17, not for 16 and a half. All right, so here's another line that's developing at 3. Okay, the strong line here, 3. Then there's this other one that I'm calling the harp line at 2. I can give you documentation for harp producing a 2 hertz line. So I will validate a 2 hertz line for harp. Okay? Now this 3 line, I'm willing to assert that's the new harp. As we saw, we have in the comments, we're talking about the improved, harp is obsolete, old technology, even though they still use it. There's 14 facilities. If it's obsolete, why are they still using it? Blase, blase B, whatever. Okay. So they have the new improved harp. So I'm just for the purposes of discussion here. Whether it is, whether it's not, you prove it otherwise, all right? You think it's elsewise, prove me. Prove me wrong. Okay? Give me the documentation. You don't think I'm right? Prove me otherwise. If you can't, then you can be quiet and sit down and listen. Okay? So, 2, I can prove 2. I'm willing to say the new improved harp is 3 because, please remember, harp works in the megahertz range. Harp is a megahertz technology. Do you know how extremely difficult it is, if you're operating in megahertz and gigahertz and gigawatts, to produce 2 hertz? Think about it. How would you, if you're operating at 15 megahertz, produce a 2 hertz line? Or a 3 hertz? Or a 7.8? Just wrap your head around that, please. Just for the harp people. Oh, it's harp, I know. Prove it. Harp operates at 15 megahertz, or 20 mega. That's 1,000 kilo. And a kilo is 1,000 watts. So 1,000,000 watts, they're operating 15 million watts, 15 million hertz. How would you produce a 7.83 hertz resonance? Okay, I'll just throw that out to you. Okay. All right. So these lines right here are what we're talking about. Okay, that's dedicated line. For the last year, since January, they've been here, right? You've been noticing. Now, 1.2, around here, under 2 hertz, would be one of the harmonics of the Earth, the natural harmonics. Earth itself resonates at 10 hertz, 10 cycles per second. That is the natural frequency of Earth itself, not 7.83, okay? 10. So the multiple of 10, a tenth of 10, is 1, or 1.5, approximately 1.5. The true harmonic, the true first Schumann harmonic is actually 7.5 mathematically, but they measure it at 7.8. So the first Schumann resonance harmonic starts at 7.5. Okay, so 1.5 is the Earth's, one of the Earth's resonant frequencies. So this way here, somewhere here, this line here, fairly stable, somewhere in here, it could change between somewhat. That's 3. That's her. That right there is our harp 2 line. That's a harp 1 line. And so this right here would be the Earth's, this kind of knotty bit here. All right, so that's my postulate. All right, we don't want to do that. All right, so we're at 26 minutes. All right. All right, so this right here more or less wraps up the first part of this, the introduction of what we're talking about with the coded lines. Okay. What I'm calling dedicated frequencies, but because these are dotted, as it were, these are dotted, we're also calling them coded. And I'm willing to work with that. Hello. I'm willing to work with that because it gives a good understanding of what is happening now. And this right here, this is in the middle. We're seeing this guy develop. I've been seeing this for a while, something along this line here. This is halfway between the two of, so it's 10. What I'm telling you is this right here is the Earth's natural vibration, 10 hertz. This is what you're picking up here. And the dead with nothing else is going on. You say, oh, there's not much going on. Yeah, there is. That's the heartbeat of the Earth right there. Nowhere else on the chart is it the heartbeat of the Earth. That right there would be your given heartbeat of the Earth, okay? If we have this discussion about, what's the heartbeat of the Earth? Right here. That is it. This right here, again, this line, this dedicated line, is the Earth's. So anything that's on that, see that right there? It's coming through. I don't know if you can see it. You may not be able to see that. These ones going this way. Right. See that? They're not, I'm doing this so you can see they're not just pixels. There's a direction to it. Okay? There's a direction. Okay? Especially when it's intersecting these. All right? What I've been calling theoretically the mid-grade electrics. That's it. It's stuck. The mid-grade electrics are essentially the vertical resonances. The thing that doesn't really exist, a vertical resonance, well, that's it. That's the mid-grade electrics. Okay, all right. So I think this is probably a good place to end it. This is at 30 minutes. And I've said before I want to keep them under 30 minutes if I can, just because it's so I can just upload it within a reasonable time. That's the main reason. All right. So as you can see from the thumbnail, there's more to this. There's a part B, which is may or may not go on Patreon, but there's definitely if there is a part B to this, there would definitely be a part 2, which is where I start getting into the specifics of what's what, of what the research is, of what the sorry about that, with the actual research of what the 17 hertz is. You know, you want to know, right? Oh, it's local interference. Well, what is it causing it? You know, you want to know, right? Okay. And then there's a lot more other fun stuff that will be included in that. All right. So, okay. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you coming today and helping me learn more about the Schumann resonance harmonics. This, to me, has been a fun show. I hope it's been as fun to you. And I don't have a joke right now today, unfortunately, but I appreciate everyone's love and support and being here. I'll just give you this closing shot. You know, because I think this is... Oh, someone's ripping tire coming out of here. Okay. All right. So, on that cheery note, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you coming today. And namaste.